All right, number one, it wants to know if I simplify I to 23rd, where does it go down to? Now, we've talked, if you have just a single I, we know that's the square root of -1, which just is an I. If you have an I squared, well, that's a root 1 times square root of -1 times square root of -1, which just gives you -1. I to the third is going to be a -1 times I, which gives you negative I. And then I to the 4 gives you back just the number 1. And so then this cycle starts all over again. So what we're really looking for is we have 23 I's. We have 23 of these guys. Now I'm not going to draw out 23 of them, but every 4 is worth just 1, and every 4 is worth 1, and every 4 worth 1. So we need to see how many sets of 4 do we have in 23? Well, just go to the old school. 4 into 23 goes 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. You're going to have 3 left over. So I know there's 5 sets. In this case, there's 5 sets there, which would be 20 of them, because 5 times 4 is 20. I'm going to have 3 left over. So I'm going to have I to the third left over. So I'd have a bunch of these I4s. I said 5 of them. And those are all going to be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 times an I to the third. What is an I to the third worth? A negative I. So this I to the 23rd is the same as a negative I. And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to say how many sets of 4 are there, because those are all worth 1. And you're either going to be left with 1 left over, 2, which then will be that, 3, which then will be negative I. Or if it goes into perfect 4 times, then hey, it's worth just 1. So let's look at this. I to the 44th. How many sets of 4 are we going to have in 44? We're going to have a perfect 11 with a remainder of none. So if I did this, I'm going to have, that'll be worth 1, those 4, 1, those 4, 1. It's going to be a perfect set. So this answer is, this is just worth 1. I to the 44th is worth 1 because you have 11 perfect sets, and every one of those sets is worth 1. So it's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. I to the 25th. Okay. So all I'm doing is 4 goes into 25. 4 goes into 25 6 times. 24 is going to leave me 1 I left over. 1 I left over is just simply I. So this is equal to I. Now, again, if you think about it, every 4 I's you have, I to the 4th, it's worth 1. So that group worth 1. Worth 1. If I do this out 25 times, I'm going to have 6 groups and then 1 little I left over. And so that's why it's worth just a single I.